While most hackers look for vulnerabilities in systems, real recon starts with the people behind them, their habits, their usernames, their leaks. Imagine someone finds your Reddit username, and in 10 seconds, they know your GitHub, your YouTube, your TikTok, and even your Spotify. That's not magic, that's OSINT. Today, I'll show you a free tool hackers use for it, Sherlock. Sherlock is run in the command line. It's a Python tool, and it checks over 300 websites if a username exists. So you simply type Sherlock, if the tool is installed, followed by a username, and then it starts scanning more than 300 websites to see if they find that username. So because it's passive, it means no alerts, no firewall triggered, and it's often one of the first tools hackers use during ethical hacking or bug bounty hunting. So it's as simple as typing Sherlock followed by a username. It then automatically scans all those websites for wherever that username is used, and it might be a lot depending on the usage of on how the user uses that username. So you might find lots of sites. It shows you all the usernames it finds across these more than 300 websites. So when usernames are reused, which happens a lot, you can instantly find all of them across those sites. And so when someone thinks they might reply anonymously using a username, you might often find their real identity on other websites. In this case, we search for this user and we find many websites, for example, the Reddits, we find the Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, and others. Now, depending on the user, you might find less or more results depending which username was used. So why does this matter? Let's say you're doing a recon on a company and find one of their developers uses GitHub, maybe through commit history or contributors lists. Let's take this username, for example. We can copy this username and then we can start scanning it with Sherlock. So we type Sherlock followed by the username, press enter, and it will then start scanning for that username. Now, you might wonder, why does that matter? So from a single GitHub handle, from a single username, we now got many other information. We've got the dev community link, Duolingo, we've got GitHub, Hacker News. We suddenly got a lot of information about this person. So now we're not simply looking at code, now we're looking at the person. And people leak things, a post on Reddit, a test on GitHub, maybe a blog that links to an old dev server. From one GitHub names, suddenly you have a lot of contacts, habits, and possibly even credentials. This is facecheck.id, a free face search engine. So by uploading a photo of a face, you can see what you get. So this is very simple. You simply go to facecheck.id. You don't need any accounts, but you get better results if you're logged in. And you can simply drag and drop the photo of any face you find on the web or on your WhatsApp, Telegram, or whatever you use. You can find a face, copy and paste it, and then you can find out where that face is used, on which kind of social media, blogs, dating sites, image dumps, and so on. So simply click search the internet by face after dropping the image or clicking browse and selecting it. Then click I agree. And it will then start scanning the internet for where this face is used. Now, depending on how much you use this might take a while, but it will scan the entire internet for that face. So it will check social media, blogs, dating sites, image dumps, and anything else, Twitter, anywhere where it might find that face, and show you results of potential matches. And so if it's a famous person, of course, it will have very good results, but for less famous people, it might also find what other social media they use or what websites they use, and it will then show you all of those matches. So scanning might take a while, but it's completely automatic. It just scans automatically all those sites, and it doesn't require any technology commands. You don't have to do any complex commands or anything. It's simply drag and drop on this site, and you can use this for free, and it will then find matches for you. So for example, in this case, it shows you the confidence level, though that is the same person. And they have different confidence levels, so very certain, confident, uncertain, and weak, and on different platforms. So we've got YouTube here, we've found it on Twitter, on other sites. And if we scroll down, we can find different matches. So this will tell you where a person appears. So in this case, it appears on a lot of news sites, of course, because it's the US president, but for unknown people or lesser known people, it might reveal what services or what sites they are using. you can find someone's online account using just a username. So no hacking, no logins, but just using a website like this, you can find out many websites they are using. So in this case, we have whatsmyname.app, and you can simply type a username and it will check across 100 websites, social media, forums, crypto, coding platforms, and even dating sites. So let's say we start searching for someone. We simply paste a username or type a username. Let's see, we have some optional filters here, but we'll do it for all categories. And click search. Then it starts searching for that username. So it will get results from anything it finds. You'll see here it's scanning 667 sites, so they updated it. It's no longer 100, but more than 667 sites are now checked. So that includes sites like Reddit, YouTube, GitHub, TikTok, Last.fm, and anywhere else where usernames are used. And you can open links directly once they are found. So you'll see here on the right the results. For example, this user seems to be into gaming. And if we click the results, it then goes to that social media page. So simply by having a username, we can find out what other places they are using. Maybe it will reveal their identity or other useful information. So if you get results from multiple platforms, you might find real names, email addresses, links to other accounts, and you can pivot from there. So you can take info from a username and then turn that into much more information. So it shows results here on the right, but you might want to investigate more than one user, or maybe to store these results. So they have some options here: copy, CSV. CSV is comma separated value. You can import that into Excel or Google Sheets. And you have PDF as well. So if you want to have the information in a PDF, you can simply click PDF and it will download the PDF version of these results. So depending on if you prefer to save it in CSV, so if you want to have it in Excel, or to print it, or just to store it in PDF, you can do that. You can also search within these results. So for example, if I search here, you'll see it automatically filters without me even pressing enter. So I can search, for example, internet, and you'll see it filters that out. So it can be a very useful tool to find out more information. If you have a username, you can then find what other websites or what other platforms they are using, and perhaps find out more information from that, like the real name and other things. Almost every company uses email. It uses it for contact, for internal communication, external communication, transparency, and so on. For hackers, or from an OSINT perspective, this can tell you a lot about the company, and also you can find security holes in that way. So it can tell you who works there, what services they use internally, what things do these employees use, whether they've been in any public breaches, so whether their passwords have been leaked online in any of the services they use. Then a lot of people reuse passwords, and you don't have to have all of them. A hacker doesn't need to have all of them to get in the company. They might simply need one employee who reuses the passwords, and that could be their way into the company. So we'll take a look at how this OSINT works, and I'll show you right away. The first step is finding email addresses of a company. You can do so with hunter.io. If you go to hunter.io website, you can find many email addresses that are tied to a domain. So this website you can use for free, and there is a paid plan, but it's for free. And using these methods, you can simply type the domain or the company name, and it will give you back a list of email addresses from that company. So then you have names, job titles, and you can see where the email was found, like on a press release or a contact page. So you might find all kind of email addresses given as company name. So you simply click find email by company. You type in the company name, which can be any company. And you can instantly see many email addresses for that specific company. So depending on the company, you can see many email addresses. I can click reveal. It will use credits because it's a commercial application. And if we click reveal, we can then see the email address. Now, if you take some of these emails, you can check whether they have been involved in any public data breaches, any security breaches. I'm using this website, haveibeenpwned.com. No login needed. You simply paste in the email address and then you click check. So whatever email address you found, you click check. And you can then find out all information. So you can then find out about an employee, if their email has been in any data breaches. So they might use their work email instead of their personal email. You can find out maybe if they reused passwords. Also, if they have been using that account for a long time, if they've been with the company for a long time, because you can see how long ago are those data breaches. For example, here we have one email and we can go back in time. And you'll see that they have been around from 2018. And they were involved in different kind of softwares that they use online where their password has been leaked. So if you do this with many different emails, you can find out also what kind of software, online software, what kind of apps is the company using, and also their security exposure. So if a lot of them have security holes, that could also be indicative of the security of the company. Because these emails can then be used to log into the company or to some of the services they use. So this tells us a lot of information or insights. So for example, here you can find out different records where services that this one used, this specific user, can tell you a lot about services the company might use. If you see it in multiple breaches, recent ones, it can suggest they still work there, but also that they might use weak passwords. And also, this isn't just theory, this is how real hackers, red teamers, and even journalists build profiles on people. So all they need is an email address, and then they can find out more information about that user. What do they use? Where have their passwords been leaked? What software does the company use? And so on. So it all starts with simply finding an email, and then using that email, they can find out a lot about a company in terms of security. So everything we've done here is OSINT. No logins, no exploits, no scraping. It's completely legal, and also why good security teams take exposure seriously. If you're learning OSINT, this is one of the cleanest real-world workflows to practice.